Alex Jones and the Infowars group work for the CIA. They are apologists for the military and have become the desperate voice of a dying empire, clinging to the need that you accept them as somehow good and worthy of redemption when they do nothing but go out of their way to systematically destroy all of us. Now the military is playing one of their last cards and using Alex Jones and Jesse Ventura to do this, and that is to convince you all that there is some sort of internal power struggle happening within the US military. Alex Jones and the military want you to believe that there is a good faction of the military up against a bad faction of the military over the fate of America. This is a lie. The US military has no political parties. There is no good outfits versus bad outfits. There is only one chain of command and hierarchy rule. So the scum on top of the military, whether it be the Army or the Navy, control everybody else. So as a collective, the US military is no good. Even if there are individuals within the military who hate what they are doing, or at the very least sense that they are somehow wrong, if they go against their orders, they could get locked up or executed. So sooner or later, 90% of the people within the military do what they are told. So very quickly, the filth recognizes other filth who have no problem taking part in illegal operations and following any order given. So the U.S. Armed Forces only promotes the egotistical, sadistic, and dumbed-down filth in the service. So in this first clip, Alex basically tells you that he understands that his new audience is comprised of military personnel and police officers, which he calls the warrior class. And since these are the people who finance and control his show, he better learn to appease them. So in this clip, Alex says that the military cops have no problem conquering and enslaving other people. But when they begin to hear that they are going to be conquered and enslaved themselves, then they finally have a problem with it. So I don't know if these are the people that you want on your side, but I definitely don't want them on my side. But Alex understands that this is his new audience and support base. So I'm going to run this clip.
I'll be honest with you, 10 years ago, I never thought it'd be the warrior class that would listen to me. I would bash the military, I would bash the police all day because I knew they worked for the globalists that had taken over. I would think I've got to warn the general proletariat, to use their words, so that we don't go along with this takeover. But I didn't realize that for all the faults of the people that enter the warrior class, they don't want to be slaves. They don't want to be conquered. They don't want to be driven into slavery. They don't, no. They want to do the hanging. And it's that class now that's totally tuned to this show. See, I never expected those type of angles.
Now in this next clip, Alex is obviously talking directly to these dumbed down, sadistic military people who need to be fed the lies that Alex will puke on them on a daily basis. And that is that somebody in the military is doing something right somewhere. Now deep down, these private piles know they ain't doing shit, but it makes them feel good when they hear that there is some great power struggle happening within the military, and if they watch the Alex Jones show, that they are somehow part of this good guy team. Now I'm not Alex Jones, so I'm not going to lie to you. So I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart that you're nothing but order-following dirtbags. You ain't shit, your military ain't shit, and you're never going to be shit. Because you don't do anything. And deep down you know it. So fuck all of you for not getting involved and always leaving it to someone else. But here is Alex telling you exactly what I warned you about. That there is some larger plan that you are all involved in, even though none of you do anything.
And I told you at the time, there is absolute war in the Pentagon between the State Department and a faction of the CIA on one side, and factions of the CIA, Defense Intelligence, the U.S. Army on the other side. been told this by, let's just say, active duty people. This is extremely dangerous. And we've talked about it hundreds of times here the last few years. You saw the military, including officers, holding up signs saying, "I won't be Al-Qaeda's Air Force" in Syria 2.5, 3 years ago. Rand Paul coming out saying we shouldn't be Al-Qaeda's Air Force. Many of the officers hold up the signs, Infowars.com. And now, Volume 38, Number 1, January 7th, 2016, just came out this morning. It is a lengthy Cy Hirsch report, 14 pages long, that we will do a special report on the news about tonight and more in the third hour. It is unbelievable. This is a 2-time Pulitzer Prize winner. This is a man given CIA clearance to investigate. He is a listener. He's emailed back and forth with us, but never comes on the show. Now is the time. He has confirmed everything in triplicate. That there is a war between senior staff and different agencies. And I don't want to say the Navy and the Army, but because the whole Navy's not bad, but the Navy has been siding basically with the globalists more than the Army. Because there is a cult of George Washington in the Army, and it's really hard to break it.
You cult of George Washington, Army boys, whatever the fuck that means. You don't like hearing that you were attacking your own country, but after you get done listening to Alex Jones, you could get back to following any treasonous order that all you idiots are given. In this next clip, Alex is talking about the military playing both sides in every conflict. He knows his new audience is a bunch of dumbed-down military goons who have no idea about any of this. So instead of telling you that the U.S. military is supporting both sides in foreign wars to A, control who wins, and B, confuse everybody about what is actually happening, now Alex would rather tell you farm animals that this is a fight between good military guys and bad military guys, and that is why the U.S. supports both sides in these foreign conflicts.
But that is now all in here, that they're funding Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, ISIS in Turkey, sending them in with weapons. Then the other group of generals actually is in contact with Assad. This is in the New Yorker magazine, folks. Cy Hirsch, not Alex Jones now. Of course, we told you 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But this is confirmed. They then directly give Assad the intel on how to beat him. And that's why Colonel Schaefer came on a few months ago and said, we are now working with the Russians openly. We are going to destroy ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And I said, and that was from congressional secret meetings he was at. He put out the info here. He's authorized to do that. You understand? Authorized by the government to come on my show and tell you that. There is a full-on war close to Operation Valkyrie going on right now, where our own government doesn't want to be part of this. That is sections of this incredible evil.
Alright, so some clown is authorized by the government to tell Alex Jones that the U.S. military is first creating ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Then they are working to destroy ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And that must be because there are two teams within the U.S. military, the good team and the bad team, who are fighting each other. Alright, so in the next clip, Alex has to summon asset Jesse Ventura to back up their huge pile of dog shit. So Ventura is just another actor turned politician phony who will love the military no matter what they do, and deep down, Jesse doesn't care about anything but himself and his pathetic daydream artificial reality that the military spins up and that he calls his life. So Alex Jones and Jesse Ventura are both products of military mind control. If they get a couple of cheesy military cops to roll up to Alex Jones on fucking 10 speeds and say that they love his show, Alex actually believes them and thinks the whole military police class are waking up. So let me tell you, Alex, that's an act. Their commander instructed them to tell you that. Most of these military cops who say they love and watch your show are lying to you, and in fact have never even seen a single one of your broadcasts.
Hey buddy, I just want to tell you I really love your show.
They are told to tell you that by their commander so that you will kiss their ass more on your show and think that's your audience. But I want you to know, most of these military cops, in their free time, like to drink beer, watch sports on television, and play poker. They play cards. That's all they do. They don't care about the news. They don't care about the world. They don't really understand politics, and they are all below average intelligence. That's why they're such good fucking cops. That's why they're such good soldiers. They don't think much. They follow orders. And then we got Ventura in the next clip telling you that he's seeing this great power struggle happening in the CIA firsthand. And that is when Ventura goes to Russia and sees this panel where there are these good CIA guys that Ventura calls whistleblowers, and they're spilling the beans on the CIA.
Now, going back to the former Minnesota governor, Jesse Ventura, whose own TV show got censored, that's Inside Baseball, but I wish he'd tell that story sometime. It's pretty revealing. He just got back from Russia. Amazing talks with CIA former people at panels, you name it. Governor, let's get into more of what you witnessed in Russia. Then I want to shift gears into Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump being buddies. You now know Vladimir Putin, and of course you're friends with Donald Trump. That's quite a story right there as well.
I guess so. Well, the big thing was they also had panel discussions over there with moderators and things like that. You could sit in on them. And the one I found very interesting, there were two former lifetime CIA people who are now retired, one a whistleblower. And the real thing, we were dealing with communication, so that's what they kind of centered everything about because it's television. And they talked about how all of this surveillance that they're putting the United States people under, violating our Fourth Amendment rights, and they've got us all now under surveillance. Clearly, both guys said it doesn't work and won't work. And they said the clear example is what just took place in Southern California. If the surveillance worked, these people would have been apprehended before they did what they did. So clearly, it's a snow job. They can't protect you with this surveillance. Both men were very clear on that you're not going to be protected any better by putting everyone under surveillance, all your emails, all your telephone calls, and basically they told us that they all are. Now, whether or not they get to places, but basically they said the entire United States is under surveillance right now.
They are taking in so much data that then any real data gets lost like a needle in a haystack.
Exactly. That's what these two guys said. They said they may get the data, but there's so much of it. They're just doing this blanket coverage of putting every person's email under surveillance that they can't possibly find, the bad ones slip by. They may find a few, but there's going to be some that slip by.
Jesse hears this panel of CIA guys, and he suddenly gets amnesia. No, Jesse doesn't know anything about the government training all these terrorist groups and staging terrorist attacks like the World Trade Center on 9/11. No, Jesse is suddenly in Jesse's little magical kingdom again, where there are all these grassroots terrorist groups attacking the American people that the CIA needs to protect us all from. And how does the CIA protect you all? By monitoring all your phone calls, reading your emails, hacking your home computer, and setting up a spy grid on the American people while they go Christmas shopping or stand in line waiting to see a movie. So these wonderful, good CIA guys will tell you that they admit that all this surveillance grid does not work, because if it did, it would prevent recent terrorist attacks. So with good CIA guys like this, we don't need bad ones. Because everybody knows that the CIA are the terrorists. When there is a CIA-sponsored terrorist attack, or they go shoot up a school or whatever, the government is not going to stop themselves. The government is not spying on you to prevent terrorism. They are spying on you to find out who is going to stand up against these federal terrorists. So the terrorists are spying on you so they can track down and kill the good guys.